Hockey fans in Quebec City had their game faces on today after word we're on the verge of landing an NHL club. Tim DuBois reports.
Go Jets, go! Go Jets, go!
The moment word hit the web, Winnipeg went wild. Reports that emerged last night say these fans who lost their beloved Jets 15 years ago will soon enjoy NHL hockey once again.
Scores!
A group of investors is said to be poised to purchase the troubled Atlanta Thrashers and move them to the Manitoba capital. The team is bleeding money and desperate for a buyer. The news has hockey fans in Quebec City barely able to contain themselves, hoping the story is true.
Reste à voir si c'est vraiment vrai ou si c'est juste des suppositions.
Oui, c'est une bonne nouvelle. Ça veut dire que la Ligue nationale est prête à une ouverture au déménagement vers le Canada.
He says it's great news because it means the league might finally be ready to give fans here their own team to cheer for once again. The NHL has long dismissed moving teams from the U.S. back to Canada.
À Winnipeg en particulier.
This expert in sports marketing says if the Thrashers do land in Winnipeg, it'll set an important precedent.
This is something that the NHL has resisted very strongly throughout the years, but we see that in extreme conditions, it is possible to relocate a team from the southern U.S. to Canada.
But there's a catch. Unlike Winnipeg, Quebec City does not have a modern arena yet. Plans are in the works to build one. This promoter says until the backhoes start digging, the league won't consider the city a contender.
Pour notre part, on n'est pas encore totalement prêt parce que pour être prêt, il faut avoir l'amphithéâtre.
Enter the mayor, Régis Labaume, who's urging the province to pass legislation shielding an arena funding deal which never went to public tenders from lawsuits.
Comment voulez-vous que des gens nous prennent au sérieux?
Next week, that controversial legislation will be introduced and debated. If MNAs choose not to fast-track the law before summer, the mayor is warning the scheduled start of construction of the arena will be delayed, putting in peril any hope of luring an NHL franchise. Tim DuBois, CBC News, Quebec City.
Coming up, CBC looks back on Winnipeg's former NHL team, the Jets, and what the team meant to the city and province, and why it will mean so much more should it return. You're watching CBC News, Winnipeg. Well, some of those folks celebrating last night were just children when the Jets left. Many Winnipeggers weren't even born. We thought we'd look back in our archives to show you the rich history of the club in Winnipeg and what the day was like when the Jets played their final game in Winnipeg.
Go Jets, go! We'll win!
They came on foot, by bike. Some drove in jeeps, cabs.
Came all the way from Peterborough, Ontario to watch a game.
And party buses. This was the game no one wanted to miss.
$25 for a sweatshirt. Get them now before they go, because like the Jets, when the T-shirts are gone, they're gone.
It's not very happy about the Jets leaving. You can see that. Yeah.
Young and old have come, dressed in white, which is their way. Fans flock to this funeral of sorts to say goodbye to a longtime friend.
The rebound, they score! Johnny!
The Winnipeg Jets are moving to Phoenix. After years of losing money, the team was finally sold.
It's hard to believe that this is really the last time that we'll be seeing this team.
George and Sally Holubitsky, loyal fans. They bought a pair of season tickets every year.
We look forward to every game. As a matter of fact, it created a hassle in our house sometimes because we had two kids at home then, and it's a matter of who's going to be going to the game.
It's all over. It's an era that's over.
This was the beginning of an era. June 1972, Portage in Maine, a renowned intersection and historic occasion. Superstar Bobby Hull signs on with the fledgling Winnipeg Jets. Hull gets $1 million, and Winnipeg finally gets pro hockey.
Long moving in, shooting, he scored!
The Jets are part of a new league, the World Hockey Association. The WHA gives hockey to cities that crave the game. Vancouver, Edmonton, Hartford, Quebec City, Cleveland.
So I was quite excited about it. I thought it would put Winnipeg on the map.
Fans were not disappointed. The early Jets were good, winning several WHA championships. The city grew fond of its new hockey heroes. But the glory days were fleeting. Trouble was lurking by the time that WHA merged with the NHL in 1979.
The Jets have been a so-so hockey club, but a business failure. Winnipeg is a small city in a big market game. This arena, it's publicly owned, but it's small and old by league standards. 10 years ago, the team owners said they needed a new arena. Last year, they said time had run out.
Winnipeggers rallied when their team went on the selling block. Hockey fans met again at Portage in Maine in the largest public gathering since the World Wars.
To see a town come together with one common purpose and work that hard, I thought it was the damnedest thing I'd ever seen in my life. It was just incredible. I mean, that Save the Jets campaign was magnificent. Tragically magnificent, but
Hal Sigurdsson, Winnipeg sports writer. For 20 years, he's covered the Jets. But the marriage is over. Sigurdsson is retiring. The team is leaving.
But the bottom line is there simply wasn't enough money generated in the Winnipeg economy to make it work. Unfortunately, the NHL has become a league that has champagne prices, and Winnipeg is a town with a beer budget.
But fans were not willing to accept the new reality. In just a few days last May, Manitobans donated $5 million in a bid to save the franchise. Government leaders, already covering team losses in the tens of millions, offered a new arena. Business people worked round the clock at financing a buyout that would keep the team in Winnipeg. Pride was at stake.
I still can't believe that we allowed them to leave.
They loved their community. They were great to Winnipeg, and it's going to be a loss for Winnipeg, not just the fans. Politics sucks.
I've come every year, and so it's been kind of difficult now to sort of say goodbye to them.
Goodbye to a team with a rich legacy. Hockey's first $1 million player. Hockey's first European imports. Hockey's characters, like former general manager John Ferguson.
I'm a hockey man. I got a Jets logo tattooed on my ass.
Former coach Tom McVie.
These guys brought me along, and now I'm on a championship team, and it's better than sex, really.
Goodbye to big league hockey in a hockey town.
We got engaged in the third period with 10 minutes to go, and
we're big hockey fans. We love hockey, and I guess it was our last chance.
I think it's completely wrong. We've lost it, and I don't think you can find better fans anywhere than you would in Winnipeg.
If there's anything I'd like to say, if this is happening in any other city, like maybe Edmonton or Calgary, don't let it. It's not worth it.
Glenn Kirby, CBC News, Winnipeg.